back to the TV show where we talk about House of Cards on Netflix. I'm Steve Zaragoza.
I'm Philip DeFranco.
William Morgan.
Again, spoilers abound. We're going to get into some way spoilerish territory as we move into the next 2 episodes.
Which are episodes 24 and 25. Next week, we're going to go just on the finale.
So forget about anything else that happens in this episode. Let's just talk about the creepy 3-way. Forget everything else.
Hold on.
Why is it creepy?
There's something
Why
super. Me and Steve just
It's
immediately.
creepy. Well, first of all, you
What?
think...
Wait,
you don't cut your
wait.
hands? So
No,
people
no,
can-
wait.
Before we go into that, also, there's a really important plot with this show. And if you want to catch up on it, go to netflix.com/SourceFed and sign up for 1 month of free streaming. You can watch all the shows we've covered here on TV Show. It's a great investment of both your time and finances. Now, there is an actual plot that's happening, namely the Department of Justice is coming down on everybody because the story has broken. The casino is how the money is getting funneled, and it's highly illegal. They're taking international dollars, and they're giving it to politicians who are using it for their own purposes.
Right, and all eyes are on the president, too.
And then a creepy 3-way happens.
No. All right, you know what? Let's rush through all the other stuff. Get to the 3-way.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Fine. So they're going. Dunbar decides to go after Underwood, and Underwood is like, "No, I can totally handle this." Only problem, guess what? He can't. Dunbar corners him with questioning of various nature, and then Underwood's like, "I gotta go." He heads out, and they gotta figure out like how to strategize and answer correctly.
Yeah, and Dunbar, more like Dumbbell. And then what ends up happening is Doug is at an AA meeting, and he reveals that he's ready to cut off Rachel. He doesn't say her name, but he's kind of like, and that's where he tells the audience basically that this might be it for him and Rachel. He might let her live a normal life, and then he might get a sponsor, but he doesn't want anything to do with it. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Well, that was kind of a weird thing too, because that guy came out of nowhere and was like, "No, I can help you quit people." I'm like, "That's a totally different." Is that how it works?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, everybody's got something, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And then Remy starts asking questions, figuring out, what his role has been in this, trying to figure out a little bit more about Jackie. Jackie, however, is like going into defense mode, and we're like, did anything we have actually mean anything, or were you just trying to gain information from me because you were working for Tusk?
Whoa.
And Remy was like, how dare you? He's like, I care about you, but I'm tired of having to say it.
But then he's also in a place of he doesn't know what the hell his next move is. And so at the end of it, we see him meeting with Frank, and it's interesting to see Remy. He's not necessarily down yet. He's trying to figure it out, but at this point, because he is stressed out, I think that Underwood really doesn't see any purpose in him.
Yeah, which is kind of sad because I like Remy I don't know. I like him in the sense that he's like kind of a good character, but the shit he's doing to Frank, even though Frank is the bad guy in the show, you can't help but kind of feel bad for him in the position he's in by the end of this episode.
And then we have the other girl that was raped. She's
back.
Yeah, she's back. She gave an interview, and all of a sudden you could tell that she was slowly becoming addicted to people paying attention to her.
Yeah, she's kind of getting empowered,
right?
basically.
And then
She's
just
becoming volatile and dangerous.
But then and then completely snuffed down. Like just nope,
Yeah.
this isn't a thing anymore. But that's also because of what we haven't talked about in that Jackie did not believe in the bill that Claire was pushing through.
Yeah.
That created a whole different mess.
Yeah, and it's Claire being a bitch also to this poor girl too. Being a
okay.
bitch.
I was like, in what way?
Yeah, because she's just basically like, sorry, this is the way it's politics, and she's like, what does she say about like that's why nobody likes you guys because you care more about the politics than anything else?
And so I again going back to what I was talking about last week with the whole like House of Cards kind of occasionally doing things that's super weird. Meacham cuts his hand because he has a little bit too much to drink with Claire alone.
We need to talk about how they start drinking, and then you're thinking, what's going on here? Like, has Meacham got a thing for Claire? Especially because in the episodes beforehand, Meacham goes to Frank and says, hey, look, all these bomb threats things and people coming after your wife, I'd like to, watch your wife full time.
Yeah.
But then he says that like protecting her is the same as protecting him.
Right, but I mean that's just sort of more of the lead up to Frank going like, oh, so Meacham is so loyal that he wants to like watch my wife. So maybe he's starting to get that feeling inside that he's like, ooh, maybe we can share Meacham or something like that. I don't know.
Well,
It's
all I
creepy.
know is
get that feeling.
He drinks a lot. He cuts his hand. Then he drinks a lot. Then Mr. Underwood comes home, and then
and he knows how to deal with a cut.
saliva kills all the germs. Let me get that saliva all over you, boy.
Man. And then just what proceeds to occur is one of the most awkward things, and not just because it's like, oh, it's dudes kissing. It's not even that. It's Meacham and it's Frank. And Frank, you've never gotten the indication is into weird, like, kinky three-way sex.
Well, you know that
dudes.
from the first season, you can tell that he's definitely had sex with men before.
I don't know. Did we get that idea?
When he's at his class reunion.
It was like that episode.
Oh, that's right. And he's hanging out with all his buddies. That's right.
That's right. We had a very special relationship.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember
it was like, the only way it's more obvious is if a dick went into a mouth.
It was pretty obvious.
Which happens in the next episode. We'll cover that. But the whole three-way is just, I'm screaming at the TV because I don't know if anybody saw that coming. I didn't see it coming,
but well, actually, I think I did see it coming. I turned to Tim and I go, oh, they're gonna have or no, my wife saw it coming. She goes, they're gonna have a threesome, and then she was like, oh crap, they're gonna have a threesome.
That's exactly what Sarah called it too. I don't know what's up with our wives being in tune with that kind of weird shit, but Sarah called it too. I don't know.
Oh, no, dude.
You want to come over and clean my cut sometime?
It's a totally like motivationless suggestive face.
I'm trying to read it. I can't figure it out. Yeah, I'm trying real hard. But
the best thing about the sex scene, I think, is the next morning where Claire's like, they're asking each other how they slept, and Claire is like, I took Advil last night, and she was like, how about you? He's like, I slept like a baby. And I was like, that was the creepiest thing of the whole three-way. I slept. Because also,
and then if
Meacham protects I slept like a baby who had sex with a guy and my wife.
For some reason in that situation, I don't think they shared Claire. I think Mr. Underwood got shared.
I'd like to know what went down because
it
looked like
you could tell they were both like Claire and Frank were telepathically communicating, and
as they do.
You could hear the conversation.
Maybe that's the
very
third
much
season.
like, should we? I don't know. Okay, we're gonna.
And then I love the next morning too, when like Frank sees Meacham and he's like, "It's a beautiful day, isn't it, Meacham?" And he's like, "Yes, sir, it sure is." And it's like, I had my penis in your mouth probably, and vice versa, and in other places. And this is cool. This is my job.
Well, that's not his job, but he got to have.
It's got perks.
He is in love with Frank Underwood. It's a
weird thing.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to the next episode, we get a little bit back more to the political side of things, and basically Walker blames Underwood for everything and severs ties with him and is like, you are not my friend anymore. I could have never trusted you. I shouldn't have trusted you. You were a mistake, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and he said, I never want to see you in the same room again, or something like that. Doesn't he say, like, I don't want to see you around at all?
Yeah, meanwhile...
Walker, the president.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the president's, like, freaking out on. Yeah. Meanwhile, Jackie, because of her very unpopular opinion on the civilian oversight thing, is getting a lot of backlash from the public. A lot to do with Megan, who called her out. And then Jackie calls up Megan on television and tells her off.
Yeah, exactly. And now Jackie is, like, turning into this mega bitch, too. And now Frank is basically thinking, like... This is it. I gotta go talk to Jackie now and make this shit right. Because he's gotta like basically pull rank and be like, Jackie, you gotta like not do this shit.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, and then in a huge twist, Doug tells Rachel not to do something.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what? No one saw that coming.
He goes back to Rachel and he says, "Get Lisa out of there."
No one.
It was a lot like the other times when he said the exact same thing.
I think he was like, I'm over her. No, I'm not. I'm kind of into that she's into other girls. No, I'm not.
Yeah. Although imagine that.
Wait,
I mean, he
no,
could be
sorry.
getting his own three-way action if he had stuck around and not been a dumb bitch about Rachel.
I don't think that's how lesbians work, Steve. It's just always...
Yeah, but I don't think Rachel is fully a lesbian. I think she doesn't know what's going on, and I think she's accepting love where she can get it.
Well, whatever. It's the most boring storyline of the
No, it's not.
Yeah,
They're pretty, and I like watching her body.
Department of Justice. Tusk decides to go straight up BA pleading the fifth on Dunbar.
Right, but I also love Tusk's like 18 lawyers that all come into the room.
And it's all just to plead the fifth. Basically what we see in this episode is the setup that Frank Underwood is doing, which is a brilliant, like, two-sided friend. He's cashing in on all the manipulations that he's done previously. So he became friends with the Walkers, and he lost that, but he's going to try to get it back. And then he's going to simultaneously convince Jackie to start getting people to vote for the impeachment of the president. And then guess who becomes president? The vice president. But you're not entirely sure the whole time because he's sitting there having these conversations with Walker where he's like, I hope you understand.
I do want to talk about something really quick. I want to talk about how Claire is being like super pushy with Trisha about this Frank stuff, and she's totally like meeting her in the hallway of the White House to tell her like, I don't know what's going on with Frank and the president, and this needs to, and what's going on. And Trisha's like, look, I don't have time for this. This is like, I'm dealing with my marriage and the personal issues of us going to therapy, getting out to the public, and all this stuff. Like, this is bullshit. And Claire's just like doing her own thing, trying to be also shady and gross, doing her own shit.
But it is. I love that there are so many callbacks of even the manipulation during the main meetings, where all of a sudden he makes sure his schedule's completely clean. But then, of course, the counseling shows up, and then all of a sudden something else can come up, and it's just stress and stress and stress on the president.
So we also have a much needed callback to the hacker guy, which we've been kind of like on the DL with. Although we did have that moment where,
well, we know that he was tracking Doug.
Yeah.
We knew something was up. He's definitely trying to gain some sort of leverage, because he's kind of fucked. All his friends are being arrested.
Yeah, and you could tell he has that kind of like that allegiance to his friends and his cause and stopping the evil. And like, even though he knows that Lucas is a big thing too, even though he doesn't mention him at all and doesn't really care about it.
He's got his own like history and storyline that we never
So
learned.
we have him meeting with the dickhole that's basically the guy keeping him from the FBI. The guy
that dude looks like a human cartoon.
He does. He looks like one of those muscle. Like, which way did he go?
Yeah.
Which way did he go?
Like,
he totally looks like the big brawny muscle.
Like the animation from like Pocahontas that they used, where the noses are super angular.
Or he also looks like the guy in the Rocketeer. Where's the rocket?
Yeah,
Like that guy,
totally looks like
basically.
him a lot.
Anyway, so
he's there.
They meet up in a car, and basically, hacker dude reveals to FBI guy that he's got info on Doug about where he's been going, and he knows all sorts of secret shit about him too.
He wants his freedom.
Yeah, well, yeah, and he knows that the dude's wife is getting fucked while they're in the car. He's like, I feel like you probably know that, because when he did send in Lucas, his thumb drive actually did do something.
Yeah, and it did get all the
automatically
ATT
deleted.
records.
And he was like, "Look, man, protecting myself.
Yeah.
What can you do?"
And so now he wants to meet with Doug, and we're gonna see what happens there.
Yep.
A lot of things to tie up, guys, and we're gonna tie them up in 7 days.
It's almost as if we're dealing with a
Shut
house.
up!
So, what is your guys' preferred method of watching the show? Do you watch it all like craziness, like Mr. DeFranco over here, all at once, or do you like to space it out and make it last like a fine wine? Let us know in the comments down below.
Somebody who's never drank wine before. I like to take my bottles of wine and stretch them over a month-long period.
I'm sorry, let me bring it more to my speed. Or do you leave it on the shelf like a bag of Funyuns that is expired?
Guys, and if you want to catch up with us, if you haven't already, go to netflix.com/SourceFed for a month of free streaming. That will work. We're going to roll with it.
Yes, we are. I'm Steve Zaragoza.
I'm Philip DeFranco.
I'm Elliott Morgan. One more, guys, and we're done.